One of my favorite things to do as a child was to ride bikes. We used to ride all over the place. If you grew up riding a bike like I did, you probably know that eventually you're going to wipe out. Sometimes it happened because our genes would get stuck in the chain, or we get tangled up with one of the other siblings. Or it was because we were attempting to get some air by jumping off a ramp that we cobbled together from some rotted boards that we found lying around the property. We had lots of fun, but that might be because no one ever told us one thing: you're not supposed to ride a bike without a helmet. I didn't know that. I don't even know if helmets existed in those days. Maybe no one realized it in the 70s and 80s, but as it turns out, your head is rather important. So when we put on the armor of God, we can't leave out protection for our head. We can lose certain parts of our bodies and still live, but without our heads, we're basically useless. So we have the helmet of salvation. To understand the helmet of salvation, we have to first understand that the word salvation doesn't mean go to heaven. It means deliverance. To be saved is to be delivered from something. If you trust Christ, you're delivered from two things: eternal punishment for your sins and bondage to sin. Of course, we all understand the deliverance from eternal punishment part because that's what we usually think of when we hear the word salvation. Salvation isn't only about us going to heaven. That's the ultimate result. Salvation is also about being delivered from bondage to sin today. And that begins in the mind, which is why salvation is associated with a helmet. We don't put it on every day to become delivered from eternal punishment for sin. That's a one-time event that happens when we realize our wickedness and trust in Jesus Christ for forgiveness of sins. But we do have to put on the helmet every day to deliver us from current bondage to sin. So, how do we put it on? There are two things that I think will help us to keep the helmet of salvation on. The first is to realize that we do not have to serve sin. Romans 6:18 says that we were made free from sin. We can say no to it. God has given us the victory, so we don't have to give in to sin. Second, we need to run from temptation. It's dangerous to think, oh, I can handle it. It's called temptation because that's what it is. We have to constantly be on our guard. Years ago in my computer technician days, I did a lot of on-site work at a BASF plant. There was a rule: whenever we left the office building and went out into the plant, we had to wear a hard hat. Usually there was no danger of something falling from the sky because it was just out in the open, but it was a precaution. If we didn't wear the helmet all the time, we might forget when we wandered into a dangerous area. If we were always prepared, we wouldn't be taken by surprise. The helmet of salvation is important because the enemy isn't just going to attack us when he knows that we're waiting for him. He's going to attack when we're not ready, so we always need to be prepared. Put on your helmet of salvation by trusting in Jesus Christ and then refusing to be vulnerable to temptation. Don't ever let your guard down, because that's when the fiery darts of the enemy will destroy you. Next time, we'll go on the offensive and learn how to handle the sword of the Spirit. I'll see you then.